You've probably heard of Louise Hay, right? She's like the grandmother of self-help, the queen of positive thinking. But here's the thing. Her ideas aren't just feel-good fluff. They're powerful tools that have helped millions of people turn their lives around. Today, we're diving into Louise's world, and I'm going to share with you her 5 amazingly simple steps that could totally change your life. These aren't complicated techniques or hard-to-follow rules. Nope, these are easy, everyday practices that anyone can do. And the best part? They really work. Now, you might be thinking, oh great, another self-help video promising the moon. But stick with me here. These aren't empty promises. These are tried and true methods that have helped people overcome depression, build better relationships, and even improve their health. Louise Hay used these very same steps to beat cancer and build a multi-million-dollar empire. Pretty impressive, right? But here's the real kicker. If you don't give these steps a shot, you might be missing out on some serious life-changing stuff. Imagine waking up every day feeling excited and happy instead of dreading what's ahead. Picture yourself handling problems with ease instead of stress and worry. That's what's possible when you apply Louise's wisdom to your life. In this video, we're going to break down each of Louise Hay's 5 steps. I'll explain what they are, why they work, and most importantly, how you can start using them right away. No fancy equipment needed, no special skills required. Just you, your mind, and a willingness to try something new. And don't worry, I've got a super simple exercise for you to try at the end. It's so easy, you can do it right in your living room. So, are you ready to discover how to create a more fulfilling life? Are you open to the idea that a few small changes in how you think could lead to big changes in how you live? Great! Let's dive into Louise Hay's incredible 5-step system for transforming your life. Before we jump into the steps, let's talk a bit about the amazing woman who created them. Louise Hay wasn't always a spiritual guru or a self-help superstar. In fact, her early life was pretty tough. Born in 1926, Louise faced a lot of challenges growing up. She dealt with abuse, dropped out of high school, and became a single mom in her teens. Life wasn't easy for her, to say the least. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of letting these hardships break her, Louise used them as stepping stones to something greater. In her 40s, she discovered the power of positive thinking and spirituality. She started studying different spiritual ideas and realized that our thoughts have a huge impact on our lives. Then, in 1977, Louise was diagnosed with cancer. Instead of giving up, she saw this as a chance to put her newfound beliefs to the test. She combined traditional medical treatments with her own mental healing techniques. And guess what? It worked. She recovered fully and went on to live a long, healthy life. Inspired by her own healing journey, Louise started sharing her ideas with others. She wrote books, gave lectures, and even started her own publishing company, Hay House. Her most famous book, You Can Heal Your Life, has sold over 50 million copies worldwide. That's a lot of lives touched. What made Louise's teaching so popular? Well, they're simple, practical, and most importantly, they work. She didn't use complicated jargon or preach impossible ideals. Instead, she offered easy-to-understand advice that anyone could apply to their daily life. Louise passed away in 2017 at the age of 90, but her wisdom lives on. Her books continue to inspire people, and her company still publishes works by other spiritual teachers. Louise proved that it's never too late to change your life, and that with the right mindset, you can overcome anything. So, when we talk about Louise Hay's 5 steps to a more fulfilling life, remember, these aren't just nice ideas. They're tried and tested methods from someone who used them to completely transform her own life. And if they worked for Louise, who faced so many challenges, imagine what they could do for you. Now, you might be wondering, okay, Louise Hay's life story is inspiring, but why should I care about her 5 steps? How are they going to help me? Great question. Let's talk about why these steps are so important and how they can make a real difference in your life. First off, Louise Hay's steps are all about changing the way you think. And here's the thing. Your thoughts are super powerful. They shape how you see the world, how you feel about yourself, and even what kind of opportunities you notice in your life. It's like wearing a pair of glasses. If the lenses are dirty or scratched, everything you see looks messy or unclear. But if you clean those lenses, or in this case, change your thoughts, suddenly the world looks brighter and full of possibilities. Let's break it down a bit more. When you start using Louise's steps, you might notice some big changes in your life. Better mood. Imagine waking up feeling happy and excited about your day instead of dreading what's ahead. That's what can happen when you start thinking more positively. Less stress. Life's always going to have its ups and downs, but with these steps, you'll learn how to handle problems without getting super stressed out. Improved relationships. When you feel good about yourself, it shows. You'll probably find that your relationships with friends, family, and even coworkers get better. More confidence. As you practice these steps, you'll start to believe in yourself more. This can help you go after your dreams and try new things. Better health. Believe it or not, positive thinking can even impact your physical health. Many studies have shown that optimistic people tend to be healthier and live longer. But here's the most important part. If you don't try these steps, you might be missing out on all of these benefits. It's like having a treasure map, but never going on the adventure to find the gold. Sure, your life might be okay as it is, but why settle for okay when it could be amazing? Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds too good to be true. How can just changing my thoughts make such a big difference? Well, it's not magic, and it's not instant. It takes some practice and patience. But the cool thing is, you can start small. You don't have to completely change your life overnight. Even little shifts in how you think can start to make a difference. And here's another great thing about Louise Hay's steps. They're not just for people who are going through tough times. Even if your life is pretty good right now, these steps can help make it even better. They can help you appreciate the good things more, deal with everyday annoyances more easily, and maybe even discover new opportunities you hadn't noticed before. So, are you ready to give it a try? Are you willing to spend a little time each day working on your thoughts to see how it might change your life? Remember, you've got nothing to lose by trying, and potentially a whole lot to gain. In the next sections, we'll dive into each of Louise Hay's 5 steps, and I'll show you exactly how to put them into practice. Get ready. Your journey to a more fulfilling life starts now. Let's kick things off with the first and maybe most important step in Louise Hay's system: loving yourself unconditionally. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Love myself? That sounds cheesy. Or maybe you're thinking, but I've made mistakes. How can I love myself? Well, stick with me here, because this step is a real game changer. So, what does it mean to love yourself unconditionally? It's about accepting yourself completely, flaws and all. It's like being your own best friend, always there with support and kindness, no matter what. Louise Hay believed that many of our problems come from not loving ourselves enough. We beat ourselves up over little mistakes, compare ourselves to others, and sometimes even talk to ourselves in ways we'd never talk to a friend. But here's the thing. When you start to love yourself, really love yourself, everything else in your life starts to shift. It's like magic, but it's not magic at all. It's just what happens when you stop being your own worst enemy and become your own biggest supporter. So, how do you do it? How do you start loving yourself unconditionally? Here are a few simple ways. First, try looking in the mirror each morning and saying, "I love you." I know, it feels weird at first. You might even laugh or roll your eyes. But stick with it. Say it like you mean it, even if you don't quite believe it yet. Over time, it'll start to feel more natural, and you'll start to believe it. Next, start paying attention to how you talk to yourself in your head. When you make a mistake, do you call yourself names or put yourself down? Try to catch those negative thoughts and replace them with kinder ones. Instead of, "I'm so stupid," try, "I'm learning and growing every day." Another great way to practice self-love is to take care of yourself. This can be as simple as taking a relaxing bath, going for a walk in nature, or treating yourself to your favorite healthy meal. When you take care of yourself, you're sending a message that you're worth taking care of. Now, let's talk about a real-life example. Sarah, a friend of mine, always struggled with her weight. She tried diet after diet, but nothing seemed to work. Why? Because every time she slipped up, she'd beat herself up about it, feel terrible, and then comfort eat to feel better. It was a vicious cycle. Then Sarah learned about Louise Hay's idea of self-love. She started being kinder to herself. Instead of criticizing her body, she started appreciating it for all it could do. She'd look in the mirror and say, "I love you," every day. At first, she felt silly, but she kept at it. Guess what happened? As Sarah started to love herself more, she naturally started making healthier choices. Not because she hated her body and wanted to change it, but because she loved her body and wanted to take care of it. Over time, she not only lost weight, but she also felt happier and more confident than ever before. That's the power of self-love. It's not just about feeling good, although that's great too. It's about creating a foundation for positive change in your life. When you love yourself, you treat yourself better. You make better choices. You attract better situations and relationships. It's like a domino effect of goodness in your life. Now, I want to be clear. Loving yourself unconditionally doesn't mean you think you're perfect or that you never want to improve. It's not about being arrogant or self-centered. It's about accepting yourself as you are right now, while still being open to growth and change. It's about being kind to yourself along the journey, instead of constantly criticizing yourself for not being there yet. Remember, this step takes practice. You didn't learn to criticize yourself overnight, and you won't learn to love yourself overnight either. Be patient with yourself. Start small. Maybe set a reminder on your phone to say something kind to yourself once a day. Or try writing down 3 things you like about yourself before bed each night. The key is to keep at it, even when it feels awkward, or you don't quite believe it yet. Because here's the truth, you are worthy of love, especially your own love. And when you start giving that love to yourself, you'll be amazed at how your life can change. Now that we've talked about loving yourself, let's move on to step 2 of Louise Hay's system, using positive affirmations. Don't worry if you're not sure what an affirmation is. I'm going to break it down for you in a way that's super easy to understand and use in your everyday life. So, what exactly is an affirmation? Simply put, it's a positive statement that you repeat to yourself. It's like planting a seed of positivity in your mind. Louise Hay believed that the thoughts we think and the words we speak shape our experiences. By using positive affirmations, we can start to change our thoughts and, in turn, change our lives. Now, you might be thinking, come on, how can just saying some words to myself make a difference? Well, think about it this way. Have you ever had a song stuck in your head? Maybe you heard it on the radio and found yourself humming it all day. That's kind of how affirmations work. When you repeat them often enough, they start to stick in your mind, replacing negative thoughts with positive ones. First, choose an affirmation that resonates with you. It should be positive, in the present tense, and personal. For example, instead of saying, "I don't want to be poor," you might say, "I am attracting abundance into my life." See the difference? One focuses on what you don't want, while the other focuses on what you do want. Next, repeat your affirmation regularly. You could say it out loud while looking in the mirror, write it down in a journal, or even set it as a reminder on your phone. The key is consistency. The more you repeat your affirmation, the more your mind starts to believe it. Here's a simple way to remember how to use affirmations effectively. Think of the 3 Ps: positive, present, and personal. Your affirmations should always be positive, focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. In the present tense, as if it's already happening, and personal, using I statements. Let me share a quick story about how affirmations can work in real life. I had a buddy, let's call him Mike, who was always down on himself about his job. He'd constantly say things like, "I'm not good enough for a promotion," or "I'll never get ahead in my career." One day, I told Mike about Louise Hay's affirmations. At first, he was skeptical, just like you might be right now, but he agreed to give it a try. He chose the affirmation, "I am capable and deserving of success in my career." Mike started saying this affirmation every morning while getting ready for work. He wrote it on a sticky note and put it on his computer. He even set it as the lock screen on his phone. After a few weeks, something interesting happened. Mike started feeling more confident at work. He began to speak up more in meetings and take on new projects. His boss noticed the change and gave him more responsibilities. And guess what? 6 months later, Mike got that promotion he thought he'd never get. Now, I'm not saying the affirmation magically got Mike the promotion. What it did do was change how Mike saw himself. When he started believing he was capable and deserving of success, he started acting like someone who was capable and deserving of success. And that made all the difference. Here's a cool tip to make affirmations even more powerful. Try adding emotion to them. When you say your affirmation, really feel it. If your affirmation is, "I am surrounded by love," take a moment to imagine what that feels like. Picture yourself being hugged by loved ones or doing something you love. The more you can connect your affirmation to a positive feeling, the more impact it will have. Another great way to use affirmations is to counter negative self-talk. We all have that inner critic that sometimes says mean things to us. Next time you catch yourself thinking something negative, try to counter it with a positive affirmation. For example, if you find yourself thinking, "I'm not smart enough," counter it with, "I am intelligent and capable of learning new things." Remember, using affirmations isn't about denying reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about shifting your focus to the positive and opening yourself up to new possibilities. It's about training your mind to look for the good, rather than always focusing on the bad. Start small. Choose 1 or 2 affirmations that really resonate with you and make them part of your daily routine. Say them in the morning when you wake up or at night before you go to bed. Write them down, say them out loud, or even record yourself saying them and listen to the recording. Find what works best for you. And here's the most important thing. Be patient and kind to yourself as you start this practice. Change doesn't happen overnight, but if you stick with it, you'll start to notice a shift in how you think and feel. And that's when the real magic starts to happen in your life. All right, we've covered loving yourself and using positive affirmations. Now let's dive into step 3 of Louise Hay's system, forgiveness. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Forgiveness? That's easier said than done. And you're right, it can be tough. But stick with me, because this step has the power to totally transform your life. When Louise Hay talked about forgiveness, she wasn't just talking about forgiving others. She emphasized the importance of forgiving yourself too. In fact, sometimes that's the hardest part. We often hold on to guilt, shame, and regret about things we've done or things that have happened to us. But here's the thing. Holding on to all that negative stuff is like carrying around a heavy backpack all the time. It weighs you down and holds you back from living your best life. So, what exactly does it mean to forgive? It doesn't mean you're saying that what happened was okay. It doesn't mean you have to be best friends with someone who hurt you. Forgiveness is about letting go of the negative emotions attached to a situation so that you can move forward. First, acknowledge your feelings. It's okay to be angry, hurt, or upset about something that happened. Don't try to push these feelings away. Instead, allow yourself to feel them fully. Next, try to understand that everyone is doing the best they can with the knowledge, understanding, and awareness they have at the time. This doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it can help you see things from a different perspective. Then, make a conscious decision to let go of the resentment or guilt you're holding on to. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They think forgiveness should feel a certain way, or that they're not ready to forgive. But forgiveness is a choice, not a feeling. Finally, focus on the present and future rather than dwelling on the past. Ask yourself, how can I use this experience to grow and become stronger? Let me share a story that shows how powerful forgiveness can be. I had a friend, let's call her Emma, who had a really tough relationship with her dad. He wasn't around much when she was growing up, and when he was often critical and cold. Emma carried a lot of anger and heard about this for years. One day, Emma learned about Louise Hay's ideas on forgiveness. At first, she was resistant. Why should I forgive him? He doesn't deserve it. But she decided to give it a try, not for her dad's sake, but for her own peace of mind. Emma started by acknowledging all the hurt and anger she felt. She wrote it all down in a journal, letting out years of pent-up emotions. Then, she tried to understand her dad's perspective. She learned that he had grown up in a very strict household and never really learned how to show affection. Slowly, Emma started to let go of her resentment. She didn't excuse her dad's behavior, but she chose to stop letting it control her life. She even started using affirmations like, "I release the past and am free to move forward with love." The change in Emma was remarkable. She seemed lighter, happier. Her relationships improved, even her relationship with her dad. By letting go of the past, she was able to create a better present and future for herself. Now, I want to be clear, forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. In some cases, especially where abuse is involved, maintaining distance might be the healthiest choice. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself, not about letting someone else off the hook. One powerful way to practice forgiveness is through a simple exercise Louise Hay often recommended. At the end of each day, say to yourself, "I forgive everyone in my past for all perceived wrongs. I release them with love." Then say, "I forgive myself for all perceived wrongs. I release myself with love." This daily practice can help you let go of small grudges before they build up into big resentments. Remember, forgiveness is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. Be patient with yourself. Some things might be easier to forgive than others, and that's okay. The important thing is to make forgiveness a regular part of your life. Here's a helpful tip. If you're struggling to forgive someone, try focusing on forgiving the action rather than the person. For example, instead of trying to forgive your friend for lying to you, try to forgive the act of lying. This can sometimes make forgiveness feel more manageable. Also, don't forget about forgiving yourself. We're often our own harshest critics. Practice self-forgiveness by treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a good friend. Forgiveness doesn't change the past, but it does change your experience of the present and your outlook on the future. It's like cleaning the windshield of your car. Suddenly, everything looks clearer and brighter. You can see where you're going instead of being stuck looking at old smudges and cracks. By practicing forgiveness, you're not doing anyone else a favor. You're setting yourself free. You're choosing to let go of the heavy burden of resentment, anger, and guilt. And when you do that, you make room for more positive experiences in your life. You open yourself up to more love, more joy, and more peace. So, are you ready to give forgiveness a try? Remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Take it one step at a time. Be patient with yourself, and watch how it starts to change your life for the better. Now that we've covered self-love, affirmations, and forgiveness, let's move on to step 4 of Louise Hay's system, practicing gratitude. This step might seem simple, but don't underestimate its power. Gratitude has the ability to completely shift your perspective and open your eyes to the abundance that's already in your life. So, what exactly is gratitude? It's more than just saying thank you when someone does something nice for you. Gratitude is about truly appreciating and acknowledging the good things in your life, both big and small. It's about focusing on what you have rather than what you lack. Louise Hay believed that gratitude was like a magnet for miracles. When you're grateful for what you have, you attract more good things into your life. It's not about magical thinking. It's about changing your focus. When you're looking for things to be grateful for, you start noticing more positive things in your life. First, try keeping a gratitude journal. Every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Maybe you're grateful for your morning coffee, a text from a friend, or a beautiful sunset. The key is to really feel the gratitude as you write it down. Another great way to practice gratitude is to start and end your day with a gratitude thought. When you wake up, before you even get out of bed, think of something you're grateful for. Do the same thing at night before you go to sleep. This simple practice can set a positive tone for your day and help you sleep better at night. You can also try expressing gratitude to others more often. Tell your loved ones what you appreciate about them. Thank the cashier at the grocery store for their service. Acknowledge your coworkers for their hard work. Not only does this spread positivity, but it also makes you more aware of the good things and people in your life. Let me share a story about how gratitude can change your life. I had a colleague, let's call her Lisa, who was always complaining about her job. The work was too hard. Her boss was too demanding. Her coworkers were annoying. You name it, she had a problem with it. One day, Lisa learned about Louise Hay's gratitude practice. At first, she was skeptical. What do I have to be grateful for at this awful job? She thought. But she decided to give it a try. Lisa started small. She'd write down 3 things she was grateful for at work each day. Some days it was a challenge, but she always found something. Maybe it was the free coffee in the break room, or the fact that her commute wasn't too long. As Lisa kept up this practice, something interesting happened. She started noticing more and more positive things about her job. She began to appreciate her boss's attention to detail, which was making her a better worker. She realized her annoying coworkers were actually quite supportive when she needed help. Within a few months, Lisa's whole attitude about her job had changed. She was happier at work, more productive, and even got a promotion, all because she chose to focus on what was good rather than what was bad. Now, I'm not saying gratitude will magically solve all your problems, but it can change how you see your problems. It's like putting on a pair of glasses that helps you see the good things that were always there, but you just didn't notice before. Here's a fun way to boost your gratitude practice. Try the alphabet game. Go through the alphabet and think of something you're grateful for that starts with each letter. It's a great way to challenge yourself to find gratitude in unexpected places. Another powerful gratitude practice is to be thankful for things before they happen. For example, you might say, "I'm grateful for the productive meeting I'm about to have," or "I'm thankful for the delicious and nourishing dinner I'm about to eat." This not only cultivates gratitude, but also helps set positive expectations. Remember, gratitude isn't about ignoring the negative things in your life. It's about choosing to focus on the positive despite the challenges. It's about finding the silver lining, the lesson, or the opportunity for growth in every situation. And here's something really cool about gratitude. It's impossible to feel grateful and negative at the same time. When you're truly feeling gratitude, there's no room for anger, resentment, or fear. It's like gratitude crowds out the negative emotions and fills you up with positive ones instead. So, are you ready to start your gratitude practice? Remember, like all habits, it takes time to develop. Start small. Maybe set a reminder on your phone to think of one thing you're grateful for each day. Or try sharing your gratitude with someone else. Tell a friend or family member one thing you appreciate about them. As you practice gratitude more and more, you'll start to notice a shift. You might find yourself complaining less and appreciating more. You might start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. And most importantly, you might find yourself feeling happier and more content with your life, just as it is right now. We've made it to the final step of Louise Hay's system, mastering positive self-talk. This step ties everything we've learned so far together. It's about changing the way you talk to yourself in your head, becoming your own best friend instead of your worst critic. Louise Hay believed that the thoughts we think and the words we speak create our experiences. And guess what? We talk to ourselves more than we talk to anyone else. So if we're constantly putting ourselves down or focusing on negative things, we're creating a pretty gloomy reality for ourselves. Positive self-talk isn't about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring problems. It's about approaching yourself and your life with kindness, understanding, and optimism. It's about treating yourself the way you treat a good friend. First, become aware of your inner dialogue. Pay attention to what you're saying to yourself throughout the day. Are you constantly criticizing yourself? Do you focus on what could go wrong instead of what could go right? Just noticing your thought patterns is the first step to changing them. Next, challenge negative self-talk. When you catch yourself thinking something negative, ask yourself, is this really true? Is this thought helpful? Would I say this to a friend? Often, our negative self-talk is exaggerated or simply not true. Then, try to reframe negative thoughts into positive ones. For example, instead of, "I'm so bad at this," try, "I'm learning and improving every day." Instead of, "This always happens to me," try, "This is a chance for me to grow stronger." Let me share a story about how powerful positive self-talk can be. I had a friend, let's call him Tom, who was trying to lose weight. Every time he looked in the mirror, he'd say things like, "You're so fat," or "You'll never lose this weight." One day, Tom learned about Louise Hay's ideas on self-talk. He realized that by constantly putting himself down, he was making his weight loss journey much harder. So he decided to change his self-talk. Instead of criticizing his body, Tom started saying things like, I'm taking good care of my body, and every day, I'm getting healthier and stronger. When he was tempted to skip a workout, instead of saying, I'm so lazy, he'd say, I'm committed to my health and I can do this. The change in Tom was amazing. Not only did he start losing weight, but he also became more confident and positive in general. His new way of talking to himself made the whole process feel less like a punishment and more like an act of self-love. Here's a simple trick to improve your self-talk. Try talking to yourself in the second or third person. Instead of saying, I can do this, say you can do this, your name, or your name can do this. It might feel weird at first, but research has shown that this can help create a bit of mental distance, making it easier to be kind and supportive to yourself. Another great way to practice positive self-talk is to create a list of personal pep talks. Write down encouraging things you can say to yourself in different situations. For example, I've got this, I'm doing my best, and that's enough. Or, every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Keep this list handy and refer to it when you need a boost. Remember, changing your self-talk takes time and practice. You've probably been talking to yourself in certain ways for years, so be patient as you work on changing these patterns. The key is to be consistent and to keep at it, even when it feels awkward or you don't quite believe what you're saying yet. One powerful technique Louise Hay recommended was to use cancel when you catch yourself in negative self-talk. Say or think cancel, and then replace the negative thought with a positive one. It's like hitting the delete button on negative thoughts. It's also important to pay attention to the questions you ask yourself. Instead of, why does this always happen to me? Try, what can I learn from this situation? Instead of, what if I fail? Ask, how can I prepare to succeed? The questions we ask ourselves shape our focus and our actions. Positive self-talk isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about approaching challenges with a growth mindset, believing in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. It's about being your own cheerleader instead of your own worst enemy. As you practice positive self-talk, you might find that it becomes easier to take on new challenges, bounce back from setbacks, and enjoy your life more. You're creating a supportive inner environment that allows you to grow and thrive. So, are you ready to become your own best friend? Start by simply noticing your self-talk. Then, bit by bit, start changing those internal messages to more positive, supportive ones. Remember, you're with yourself 24/7. Why not make that relationship the best it can be? We've covered a lot of ground in exploring Louise Hay's 5 steps to a more fulfilling life. From learning to love yourself unconditionally to mastering positive self-talk, each step builds on the others to create a powerful system for personal growth and happiness. Love yourself unconditionally. Accept and appreciate yourself, flaws and all. Use positive affirmations. Plant seeds of positivity in your mind with carefully chosen statements. Practice forgiveness. Let go of resentment and guilt to free yourself from the past. Cultivate gratitude. Focus on and appreciate the good things in your life. Master positive self-talk. Become your own best friend and biggest supporter. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but can it really make a difference in my life? The answer is a resounding yes. But here's the catch. It's not enough to just know about these steps. The magic happens when you start putting them into practice in your daily life. Remember, change doesn't happen overnight. It's okay to start small. Maybe begin with just one step that resonates with you the most. Practice it consistently for a week or two, then add another step. Before you know it, you'll be incorporating all 5 steps into your life naturally. As you embark on this journey, be patient and kind to yourself. Some days will be easier than others. You might have setbacks or moments of doubt. That's all part of the process. The key is to keep going, to keep choosing love, positivity, forgiveness, gratitude, and kindness, especially towards yourself. Think of these steps as tools in your personal growth toolkit. They're always there when you need them. Having a bad day? Try some positive affirmations. Feeling stuck in the past? Practice forgiveness. Overwhelmed by life's challenges? Take a moment to find something to be grateful for. Remember, The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. It's about creating a life that feels good on the inside, not one that just looks good on the outside. It's about waking up each day feeling a little bit better, a little more excited about life, a little more at peace with yourself and the world around you. Louise Hay's wisdom has helped millions of people around the world create more fulfilling lives. Now it's your turn. You have the tools. You have the power. You are worthy of a life filled with love, joy, and peace. So, what do you say? Are you ready to take the first step towards a more fulfilling life? Remember, every journey begins with a single step. Your step might be looking in the mirror and saying, I love you. It might be writing down 3 things you're grateful for. It might be forgiving someone who hurt you in the past. Whatever it is, know that you're not alone on this journey. Every person who has ever tried to improve their life has started right where you are now. As you go forward, keep Louise Hay's words in mind. You have the power to heal your life, and you need to know that. We think so often that we are helpless, but we're not. We always have the power of our minds. Claim and consciously use your power. Here's to your journey towards a more fulfilling life. You've got this.